the 5th day of August, it's 2024. I'm going to be your host. I'm Dana Durnford. Welcome, everybody. You can call in at 709-589-4406. I'm going to cover Israel a little bit here tonight because of all the talk about nuclear weapons and Iran and the U.S. and Great Britain, which is not so great if you go look at it. Russia and Pakistan are sitting watching closely to what's going on in the Middle East. And we got a poll tonight. Is the genocidal Israel stupid enough to use nuclear weapons against Iran? And some people think no. Some people think, the majority thinks yes. I'm interested in what you got to say. Very interested in what you got to say, me, the two of us. Don't forget to click around a little tiny bit. Nuclear is a plague. It's going to plague us. It's going to be a plague on society, is it? There's no good protesting. Because you're talking about a military-industrial complex. We're just getting started here. We'll jump on it right away. Israel-Hamas war laid as international calls for a ceasefire because somebody's going to beat Israel up. Now he wants a ceasefire. It's like a bully goes around and punches every kid on the block every day, all summer, all fall, all winter, and half of spring. And in school, kid goes around, he beats everybody up and takes their lunch money and says nasty thing about their loved ones, and the list goes on. And shoots them and everything else. And then when somebody comes by and challenges them, they're like, oh, well, we want a ceasefire. But it's not, that's one way it comes across. But the other way it comes across is you have a real-life degenerate monster as a prime minister of a country known as Benjamin Netanyahu. And he's already showed his genocidal intentions, haven't he? He hasn't held back at all. He's the biggest liar, the most disgusting parasite, and his whole legacy is about his ideology of Israel, right? And the 8 million species and everybody else on the planet be damned. As long as he gets his way and they get their way and they artificially fulfill a prophecy. It's all worded. It's the only planet we got in the entire friggin' universe. And they're willing to destroy it for their own so-called glory. I mean, the minute the war is over, if it ever does end, Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be shifted off to jail, right? And so they had 4,000 tanks against people with no tanks. And then they're pretending that they're heroes. It's the strangest thing I've ever saw. All the military is fully outfitted. They're up against people that don't have nothing. And has been, they created 5 million refugees. They kept 5 million people out of Palestine and let in Hamas so they would have someone to demonize, right? It's mostly children, very young people living in the country. You have 5 million people living in refugee camps surrounded by barbed wire and Israeli soldiers with German shepherds. And the contempt for the Palestinian, it's not Hamas. They want Hamas. They don't want to kill Hamas. If they kill Hamas, they can't destroy. Well, they already destroyed Palestine, haven't they? That's all they've done since they showed up. And then yesterday, body parts everywhere after a school attack. They blew up every school. They blew up every inch of the infrastructure. How much screaming would they do if someone blew up their water system? I wonder. The Israelis. Oh, blew up our water. Everybody should send us everything. The biggest welfare state on the entire planet is Israel. And their commodity is weapons of mass destruction. They're the biggest weapons, the fourth biggest weapons producer on the planet. And now they're threatening a genocide against the rest of the planet. The definition of insane, and I'll show it to you. You have to send jets and warships because Israel can't defend itself. It can only defend itself against people that can't fight back. And it's the cruelest we've seen ever imaginable, what they've done to the people that can't fight back. They target the women and the children. It makes no sense. They want everybody to get on one knee and kiss their fingers and kiss their ring and everything else. And what have I got? 3 viewers, really, on a show I've been doing for a decade. Is genocidal Israel stupid enough to use nuclear weapons against Iran? They're 100% stupid enough. Nobody's going to argue that. U.S. to send jets and warships as Iran threatens Israel. What do you mean Iran threatens Israel? Israel has Iran surrounded by 49 military bases for decades, armed with nuclear weapons, biological, chemical weapons, carrying out land, sea, and air embargoes against the country through their proxies. As Iran is threatening Israel. Iran is threatening Israel. The whole country is a military country. And they're a threat to everybody. Not just Iran. On Tel Aviv's seafront, the mood appeared relaxed, with bronze bodies lazing under the beach umbrellas. Because that's exactly what's going on. They're lazing on the beaches in their bikinis and their shorts, and they're drinking margaritas, and they're chatting away with perfect internet connection. And then right alongside of them, the most vulnerable people imaginable because of 60 years of brutality from a country that says it's peaceful and has never been peaceful a single time since its existence. Stole and raped and killed. That's how it's got everything it got there right now. It stole it. Raped it and murdered it in order to get their hands on it and drive it away. And they can't defend themselves even against these people, really. So now that a country that can fight back, they want everybody to pity them. They've been assassinating people for 60 years next to them. Mostly women and children. Real bunch of brave people, brave soldiers. They can't do jack shit now unless United Kingdom and Britain and their other proxies come and save their asses. They're not going to save their asses if Iran goes full tilt on them. Because Russia's is on behind Iran, so is Pakistan. They're both nuclear weapons. If Israel uses a nuclear weapon, then all the rules just went out the window. And everybody else on the planet has to pay the price. So shit brains up there. Benjamin Netanyahu, whose entire legacy is predicated up on just being a scumbag. Erase Gaza. How about erase Israel? If Gaza doesn't have a right to exist, why does Israel have a right to exist? You morons. You're actually morons. There's no other way to describe you people, only morons. Arrogant, hubris, pompous fucking morons. How genocidal rhetoric became normalized. It was always normalized. That's the norm in Israel. As Iran strikes looms, well, of course it does. What do you expect? If somebody went and done that to Israel during a new president celebration and assassinated one of their guests, what would Israel do? Would Israel Shouldn't everybody else that is do the same? If Israel does, are they off limits because they're Israel? What are you, friggin' stupid? And Israel hopes for an Abraham alliance with the United States, a NATO alliance, basically. Another, slash NATO, which shouldn't exist. And that's who's funding Israel anyway. There's all kinds of countries. Israel doesn't fund itself. It's the greediest country on the planet. It's definitely got the most idiots per population. Very educated. Everybody got a great education. They get common sense of a fruit fly, of a shit fly. He just came back from America where he'd done a 55-minute speech and had 52 standing ovations from the Senate. AirPack with 7,500 lobbyists can target anybody. You have 7,500 phone calls, 7,500 text messages, 7,500 emails coming at you all day. They're coming at you no matter where you do. There's 1,000 of them running at you with a suitcase of money. How did he, that's how they do it. And you don't play ball, they just get rid of you. They go to all the other senators they already own and say, vote them out. These are morons. They're not real soldiers. They don't fight people that can fight back. They don't fight people with a navy or a military or an army or helicopters or drones or tanks or artillery. And cowards. They sit on the other side of the hills and shoot over the hills like cowards. Their entire legacy is predicated upon that exact scenario. They don't have a navy attacking their navy. They don't have an air force attacking their air force. How can you call yourself a soldier? How does that work? How do you look in the mirror? How does that friggin' work, I wonder? U.S. Senator says Israel should drop nuclear bombs in Gaza. Lindsey Graham. Half human, half reptile. The only thing human about him is he looks human, but he doesn't have any other attributes, does he? U.S. Senator says Israel should drop nuclear bombs in Gaza. So what? Just because he says it. U.S. Representative Andy Ogles slammed for his kill them all response to the Palestinian activists. Kill them all. If his kids were there, would he want them all killed? We should kill them all. And I watched that video. Everybody probably watched the video that I'm talking about. The free speech fallout from Israel and Hamas war could be dire. It is. They have infiltrated your universities, your governments. No dissenting voices are allowed without some kind of hang-up from Israel sticking his nose in there, making it. It's just an idiot society. Israel admits burning hundreds of people on the 7th. They killed their own people. They killed their own people. I couldn't help but wonder when I was watching all the Congress and Senate, 52 standing ovations in a 55-minute speech. I couldn't help but admire that there wasn't a single person there that had the attributes of integrity. Not one of them. Not one of them said, "Get the frig out of here, you piece of shit." Not one of them stood up for American. Not one of them. Not one of them. Every one of them groveled 52 times in a 55-minute speech. I've never seen that. One of the applause was for a full minute. The whole Senate and Congress stood there whistling and applauding and cheering, betraying their own country every step of the way. The people, this is your Congress? That's your Senate? Really? They literally spat on every one of you for that whole time. Not a single shred of integrity in every one of them. It was unbelievable. The AIPAC, the lobbying group, man, they're so efficient. My goodness, they should get on a Star of David or something. By legitimizing rape, now you heard the story, I'm sure, over the last number of days of prisoners being raped, gang raped, sodomized. And that when the police went to arrest the soldier or the prison officials who done it, soldiers who done it, they're like their Guantanamo Bay. Huge populations showed up and protested and said they should be allowed to rape the Palestinians because they're not human like us. What kind of friggin' stupid? And that's stupid. And if you look at the headbangers, the crazies, the crazies in Israel, there's like over 1 million of them. All they do is read the Torah and the Talmud. They don't do nothing else than shit, eat, and reproduce. And the other 6 million people in Israel has to pay their bills, their mortgages, their expenses. All that million does is just scream about the Torah and the Talmud, right? 24 hours a day, it's the only book they read. They don't read another book. Literally the stupidest thing imaginable. And justify it over what? Something they can't prove. Whipped up, and they're weaponized, right? They're not there by accident. They're a weapon. And the population hanging on the beach, they're terrified of these people. Here, this was a good one today, wasn't it? Israel minister laments that nobody will let us starve 2 million Gazans, Palestinians, to death. Nobody will let us starve 2 million. That's not stopping you from trying, though, is it? Was that stopping you from trying? Is it stopping them from trying, I wonder? These criminals want to eliminate all Palestinians in Gaza, not just Hamas. That's exactly what's going on. They're not saying starve 2 million Hamas to death. They're talking about starving the Palestinians. The war is against Palestinians, not Hamas. Their numbers for Hamas are just dismal. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating. If they were actually trying. But they're not, are they? Destroy everything. Every house, every sheep, every goat, every tree, every plant, every flower, every crib, every hospital. It's unbelievable. That's some of the first things they were targeting. Oh, there could be a Hamas there somewhere. And laughing about it. Psychosis. I wouldn't care if Iran done the exact same thing to Israel that Israel just done to Palestine. Wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't lose a second sleep. I think it would be justice, actually. What they done to Gaza and Palestine is just simply uncalled for. How can they ever look anybody on this planet and say that they're good people is beyond me? How does that actually work? The most cowardly thing I ever heard tell of in the history books. They went in with all the weapons of mass destruction against nobody that could fight back. And if it wasn't for outside influences showing up with some weapons, it'd all be over and said and done by now, wouldn't it? Entire world set like cowards. And when, they're starving to death, they cut off all their water, all their fuel, all their electricity immediately. And it's been off now for over 300 days. Pretending that their Iron Lady Sheikh for Bangladesh just ended a 15-year rule, fled Bangladesh. For the fifth time, 100 million shekels were seized from the Palestinian authorities. For the fifth time, what, in a week? That's all that's what Israel is, one great big fucking leech on Palestine. That's all they've been doing since they existed. Is a perpetual parasite. A perpetual leech on that population, aren't they? They live off that. That's their cash cow, is the slaves alongside them. That's where they try out all their new weapons, is on those slaves. All the organ harvesting they're doing on them. It's just, these are not people I would want for a neighbor, I can tell you that much. They're not people. They don't meet the attributes of people, do they? They got the attributes of morons. Criminals. These are criminals. They should be in jail. And the majority of them not even from Israel. It's the most surreal thing imaginable. They're flocking down there now to get the Palestinians land for free, right? Without the United States to rescue Israel would be dealt a severe blow. I tell you right now that unless they're going to flatten nuke, if they go ahead and nuke Iran, then guess who's going to... It's an all-out nuke war going on. You just can't comprehend this kind of contempt for everybody except for themselves. And you see them, right? Well, I got to support the soldiers. Even when they're committing crimes against humanity, we still got to support them. And all the morons here in Canada, and you see them in the United States up on YouTube, they would, oh, well, we got to support Israel, but they've been committing crimes against humanity for their entire existence. But the last 300 days is blatantly obvious. If you can't see it, you shouldn't be allowed out in the population with other people because you're a danger to everybody, including yourself. Well, you got to get the Americans to come down and save you. And you call yourself soldiers. You call yourself heroes. But you're the only one in the history book that is 100% criminal. What you're doing is completely not acceptable. How can anybody have a future with people like you on our planet? Israel should be disarmed, right? The minute they get their hands on endless weapons, because their manufacturing is... Their whole legacy is predicated upon just misery. The misery machine, the weapons machine. What's wrong with you people? And you deny that Palestine is destroyed now. You deny it. But you sit on the hill and you have picnics while you watch it get blown up, but then when you question about it, you deny it. No, everything's okay. They got lots of water. They got lots of food. We've seen so many videos of you looting. I mean, they used to get 500 trucks a day. Now they get 500 over a month if they're lucky. Like, they don't have toilet paper, for goodness sakes. They don't have diapers. They don't have insulin for the diabetics. They don't have any health care. You blow up every hospital over and over and over. And justified it by screaming Hamas. And moving on to the next one, blow it up. And says, oh, Hamas was there, blow up the next one. It systematically destroyed the academics of the country. You destroyed all the museums. You're erasing them off the face of Earth. And then you got the arrogance to pretend that you're somehow or another you're a good person. Especially the ones that participated in it. It's hard to comprehend how you can pretend you're a good person. It's extraordinary. Oh, why is Iran waiting for them to show up? Another question that drives me nuts. Netanyahu has gone rogue. He was always rogue. And he's not a man. He's the most bizarre monster imaginable. You know, his youngest son can recite the Torah and the Talmud. Now, he encouraged that. You know why he encouraged it? So he can, in the safety of his home, ask his son for justification to commit crimes against humanity and use the Torah, the Talmud to justify it, right? It's 100% what he was up to. I mean, that is wicked on a whole different level. Should be immortalized as a demon, as the most sadistic man in human history. Israel dropped 65,000 tons of Gaza in the first 89 days. It was equal to 3 Nagasaki bombs going off at the same time. And they're using the 155 millimeter depleted uranium rounds that Zelensky in Ukraine was using. They directed them all to the fourth biggest weapons producer on the planet. White phosphorus. They're using all kinds of illegal weapons too. Who's gonna call them out? Who's gonna hold them accountable? Well, Iran might very well hold them accountable. And if they force Iran to fight to continue to fight, I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige them. And I'm sure this is scripted somewhere, probably with the World Economic Forum, no doubt. Israel has dropped more than 45,000 bombs in Gaza, weighing 65,000 tons. That was after 89 days. I think it was 50 pounds for every person in Gaza or something, because we'd done the numbers back then. Equal to 3 Nagasaki bombs. It's a lot worse than that now. That was the first 89 days. The next 210 days or so hasn't been any different. The bombs caused mass killings, injuries within seconds, in addition to permanent damage and injuries and deformities and disabilities, and toxic to the land and the water, the farms, the communities. And then people go back into their destroyed homes and pick up their children's toys or clothing or cooking utensils. They're contaminated with depleted uranium. It's all on purpose. Along with the environmental risk associated with release of toxic radiation. And the office has documented Israel's use of around 9 internationally banned bombs and missiles against civilians, children, women. Zelensky says the shell supply to Ukraine slowed by, and remember the story? How can you call it a war when only one side has jets, only one side has sophisticated drones, only one side has a navy, only one side is and they keep calling it a war. I guess they figure that the average person will accept the word war. It's not a war. It's a slaughter every step of the way. A totally erased. What happens if Iran goes to Israel and erases everything that Israel has there? Will Israel complain? Oh, well, that's just the way war goes, or will he do that? They'll cry and scream and screech. But they just done it to Palestine, and they don't want anybody to be concerned. Don't be concerned. It's only Palestine. It's not Israel, so don't be concerned. If it's Israel, be worried. But if it's not Israel, don't worry about it. We're Jews. We can do whatever we want because we're Israel. It's just literally the stupidest ideology conceivable. And you live in this little fantasy, far removed. And it looks like Israel is going to get destroyed anyway because Benjamin Netanyahu is doing everything he can to destroy Israel. Which is to fulfill a prophecy, right? He'll be in a bunker, though. Deep underground. His kids ain't out there on the battlefields, I can tell you that much. So they sent 155 millimeter depleted uranium munitions to Israel that they were sending, which is shot from, they got something like 6,000 artillery guns, and then they got around 4,000 tanks. I don't know, they haven't got that many left anymore, do they? Israel must stop using water as weapons of war, UN experts have warned. I mean, they are using water and food as a weapon, and electricity. And blow up all the hospitals, really? How about if Iran goes there now and blows up every hospital in Israel? How long before Israel stops whining and crying about that, I wonder? Isn't that shocking to see Israeli children celebrate the Gaza genocide? It's not shocking, no. At all, unfortunately. Oh, all the children, Israel children singing about the war in Gaza and how they'll be exterminated in 1 year. They're right. We're coming up on 1 year. So I got a couple of months to go. At the rate we're going, there won't be anything left here, will it? Now that they got Iran, they got Russia on one shoulder, and they got Pakistan on another shoulder. You got American United Kingdom coming to the rescues of the moron. These are morons. Israel is morons. It's a moron society. 90% of the population is literally a genocide machine. Within a year, we will eliminate all the children in Gaza. And they got the children's, this is the government, and they put it up on their official account, and when they got all the blowback, they finally took it down. Got children singing a genocide song. How can you get any stupider than that? I never heard tell of anything like that before. But the Muslims are going to get you, right? I'm way more worried about the Orthodox Jews than about any Muslims, that's for sure. I'm not worried about any of them, but tell me that the Orthodox Jews are not just as crazy as the rhetoric we see from some of the Muslim areas. Many across the world were shocked to see children sing happily about eliminating an entire people within 1 year. This was an indoctrination machine. This was normal, see? They weren't shocked by it. Imagine the parents letting their children do that. Imagine how disconnected. Israel destroys a beloved Gaza culture center. Yet a closer look at the Israeli literature and curriculum showed that this open celebration of genocide was the only natural outcome of Israel's persistent indoctrination, of brainwashing, to be more blunt, of its children ensure they do not view the Palestinians as humans and fully embrace apartheid and occupation. This is one of the few Gaza cultural places left, and we got the videos. We got videos of Israel just running over everything with the word Gaza or Palestine on it. I mean, it's sadistic. It's sadistic, right? How about this one right here? Israel doesn't care about peace either, do they? Just bear with me. How about this one right coming up? This really tells the story because what I'm going to show you in a second. I killed 13 Palestinian kids today, not Hamas, terrorists, but 13 Palestinian kids. And he put that up on his Twitter account. He's not bragging about it because it's taboo. He's bragging about it because they're all doing it. And you see all these Christians stand with Israel. And even if you show them this story there, they're like, well, he must have had to do it. The kids must have been throwing rocks at him or something. He had to do it. Blind and stupid. Stupid. How are they any different? How do you get to be that disconnected that no life matters?
To explain it. Now you're in a position to say more.
This was the 7th of October last year, which we're running towards. And she used to work for the military, like everybody else from Israel. And she doesn't understand how all these people from so-called Hamas were able to come into the country without no resistance.
To explain it. Now you're in a position to say more about this because you have manned that border.
Yeah. It's very hard for me to talk about it because it's there are so many friends and family members of friends that are missing and have been taken hostage in this barbaric acts, that talking about what I know sometimes feels like, why is this important now? And at the same time, I know that if we don't talk about this, then we will just let them off the hook once again. Because to me, and I will explain why I think this is a great atrocity. Because to me, it's, I don't know how to say it. It's just the people of Israel have been, I don't know if sacrifice is too rough of a word, but we have been sold and sold out completely, and no help for hours and hours, and no military involvement, no police, no arms on the ground for hours and hours. This is something that is non-typical and unusual for Israel Defense Forces. Now, I've served in the military forces 25 years ago as I was in the intelligence forces based in the Gaza Strip, as I told you. And I know the security drills. When I served, there was no internet, so I would sit next to the phone in my shift of the fence of the security of the Gaza Strip, and whenever something would move alongside the fence, I would get a phone call from the human observers that are looking at the gate, telling us there is a chain of command that you have to notify when something like this happens, and then straight away forces come in to look at what is it and take it down.
So what do you mean when something moves by the fence? How small is something?
It can be a pig. It can be a cat moving alongside the fence or touching the fence or trying to cross the fence. An animal, they would identify it. They would see it.
A cat gets scrutiny.
Would trigger. Yeah, it could trigger the fence. Yeah.
And
an animal.
25 years later with
25 years
sensors,
later with internet and with the most sophisticated high-tech weaponry systems like drones, like there is a special system, I don't know how to call it in English, it's called seeing shooting. That's a literal translation from Hebrew to English. Seeing shooting. It's a robot that sits on top of a tower looking at the fence, and whenever something triggers the fence which has sensors on it, it's supposed to shoot. It's like automatic, right? And there are drones and there are helicopters and there are troopers on the ground, and there are many things that are supposed to be activated. There are various lines of defense and layers of defense that are supposed to be activated when something like that happens.
Okay, so
and so nothing got activated for quite a long time. And then they used it as justification to go in and destroy a country. They needed that to happen for them to be able to go do that. It was the best thing could happen to Israel. So now they can go in and flatten an entire country. And they didn't go assassinate in Iran for something to do. That was strategic. They want Iran to go to war. They want this huge proxy war to take place. That's why Benjamin Netanyahu got 52 standing ovations in a 55-minute speech at the Senate in the United States recently, a week ago. It was bizarre. And Benjamin Netanyahu said not a single person, not a single civilian has got injured in 300 days. And Congress and Senate. Bunch of... And when you look at the before and after damage, it's... My goodness, right? What they're doing, Israel is exterminating them. And then they'll go, never again. As they exterminate one group, and they'll say, never again. And all they're going to do is just destroy everything and everybody. literally the stupidest thing imaginable. And people actually support him. People are that indoctrinated, they're it's pretty pathetic, isn't it? Let me catch up here. Let me see what I got down here. Simon Fraser University in British Columbia, Canada's professors are challenging their faculty associations' anti-Israel motions in court, which is it's actually a really important story. Just bear with me. That was pretty fast, eh? That was supposed to be that fast. A group of professors at Simon Fraser University asked the BC court to nullify resolutions by the faculty association that censored Israel over its war with Hamas, including an allegation the country is guilty of scholastic side. It's where they eradicate the academics. And they target them. They are targeting them, right? More than 350 schools and public libraries all gone. And Gaza's universities. Imagine destroying 350 schools with dirty bombs on top of that. What a stupid society. Israel strikes because they don't have to have air superiority. That's the only reason they're there. If they're being shot out of the sky, none of them, I'll be like, Mom, I don't want to go back up in the plane no more. They're shooting at us. Leading scholars in Gaza. It's part of a genocidal war. The university that was blasted on Wednesday hosted a national museum containing rare artifacts. And those artifacts were destroyed or, according to the university, were stolen by Israel and they're lost to the Palestinians. And then everybody's supposed to love the Israelis. And they get angry if you don't love them. Like, really? Why don't you love us? We're good people. And Palestinians, now we're going to get rid of them. We don't have anything on the planet to compare them to. Only the lowest IQ that can actually read and write, but the lowest IQ population that you could ever come across, they can't rationalize what they're doing is wrong under any circumstances. They'll laugh about it. They'll defend what they're doing. Oh, no, it's okay. It's in the Torah and Talmud. It's okay. We're allowed to do it. How about if someone does it to you because it's in their ideology? Oh, no, that's not acceptable. In the future, the state of Israel has to control the entire area from the river to the sea. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated his long-standing opposition to the Palestinian statehood. Not opposition, this is a genocide. And sanctioned by a lot of the world, particularly the U.S. Senate and Congress. It was really like, how could you ever trust these people again? And I think that's the point, is that probably tonight or tomorrow morning, Iran is going to come back. And Iran is making statements, reliable statements. You know what I'm like. I'm pretty good. Is making statements that's going to last for a couple of days. So will Israel use nuclear weapons? The Samson option, is it? Is the genocidal Israel stupid enough to use nuclear weapons against Iran? Because it's stupid, right, to even conceive it, that that's the solution. And the answer to that is just frightening. It's as if Palestine never lived there. That's what they're eradicating it. And the dangerous history behind Benjamin Netanyahu's almanac rhetoric. His recent biblical references to land been used by Israelis far right to justify killing the Palestinians. 47% of the Israeli Jews said in a poll conducted last month that Israel should not at all consider the suffering of the civilian Palestinian population in Gaza in the next phase of the fighting. So just kill everything as long as we get Hamas, which is what they created, and everybody acknowledges that, including Israel. Many of the scholars from Israel clearly acknowledge it. And there's other parts of the Bible that say the opposite, that you can't even destroy a fruit tree. And this is true, but Benjamin Netanyahu did not cite those parts of the Bible. Instead, he turned to something at the far right long used as justification for genocide during a war in which some argue Israel is committing genocide. Like, when you're bragging on Twitter that you killed 13 Palestinian children today and you're supposed to be a hero sniper taking out Hamas, and this is David Ovadian, O-V-A-D-I-A, an IDF Combat Engineering Corps soldier. I killed 13 children today and you're next, you scum. Muslims go to hell, scum. That's what, or you got worse words there. Like, how like if I came on my show tomorrow night and said, I killed 13 children today, how's everybody doing? We've got a great show tonight. The police would be here before I got halfway through the show and arrest me, right? No, he got a medal. He got a promotion. He's in charge of the soldiers that are going to be snipers. Yeah, you don't have to lead the kids so far because they can't run very fast. Like, there's a disconnect that goes way back. Way back. Shanes was not convicted of Dershowitz's defense that Hamas is Al-Malek. And for one, he says Al-Malek is clearly described as a nation, not a political party. And someone says, I just mean the bad members of the Palestinians. I mean Hamas. That's not the effect it has in the body politics. The effect is we have to wipe these people out. Because you're only splitting hairs. Is there anybody denying that they killed mostly women and children? We don't know the numbers because Palestine doesn't have the heavy equipment to remove the rubble to find out how many people are dead underneath it. Israel's kidnapping people at a rate, it's who knows, the last number I seen was like 12,000. And the ones they do release are not able to walk. I mean, this story here is, if this was, any of these stories was about Israel, can you imagine? They'd have to create 5,000 Hollywood movies if any of these were carried out against Israel. But because it's carried against anybody but Israel, there never will be a Hollywood movie, right? If that's not stupid and dangerous, what is? White House seeks answers from Israel on Gaza mass graves. At the hospitals, over 300 dead people and 340 bodies buried by Israeli forces, which a lot of them with their hands tied behind their backs and their feet tied, executed in the back of the head. And then, this came out a couple of days ago, a bomb smuggled into Tehran guest house months ago killed a Hamas leader. But clearly, like, we all seen the footage that's paying attention to this, right? We all know that's simply not, it's not as simple as that, what they're saying, right? They're claiming A bomb was smuggled in a few months ago, and when he finally showed up and stayed there, they blew it up remotely. Because they're looking for sympathy now that it's going to come on their door. They're trying to cover all bases, right? And they need to justify the U.S. military and nuclear weapons and everything. Like they got. Let me show you the map. There's a map of Iran that's been around for a long time. Of the bases carrying out. Iran wants a war. If Iran wanted a war, it would have picked a war a long time ago, right? And all those stars you see in there are U.S., United Kingdom, and Israeli military bases surrounding on the borders of Iran. Not on the borders of Israel, which stole the land from the Palestinians and never stopped stealing. That's what they do. The only thing they're good at is stealing. They're really good at stealing. The UK and the United States issue an urgent plea for citizens to leave Lebanon amid fears of escalation. Israelis' ferocious bombing of Gaza has killed more than 39 million people. The majority were women and children. But it could be that many again, or twice as many, that are under the rubble. There's triple that are completely lost limbs and arms and legs. Everybody lost their home except for a few people now. I don't know what to make of it outside of... I've been looking at this and covering it on and off for a couple of decades now. And I deal in facts. And the continuous fact is what Israel is doing is genocide. There's no maybes about it. And because they can, they are. How do you kill 13 kids and put it up on your Twitter? And then the Israelis defended them. Well, they're going to grow up and shoot at us in the future. But you're going to grow up and shoot at them in the future. They don't see that side. They can't see that side. They're not allowed to see that side. They're not allowed to think that way. They're only allowed to point the finger. They can't look in a mirror. They just can't do it. They should go back to wherever they came from. Germany and Ukraine, wherever. The majority of them are immigrants. And they did nothing but be stupid since they got there. And Israel typically gives you $50,000 if you go to Israel as an Israeli Jew. And everybody has to serve in the military. And so they all have to go out and hurt people that can't defend themselves. Because they're not going to fight a real war. They're not going to fight an army, a standing army. They're never going to do it. They've never done it. Right? Their whole bravo, their whole courage, they're going around with no opposition. There's nobody with F-16 fighter jets shooting their F-16s at a deer, right? There's no F-16 fighter jets flying over Israel dropping bombs 24 hours a day, is it? Israel is out playing on the beaches, going to the supermarket, and whining about anybody that does retaliate. It's 100% genocide what they're doing alongside of them, and they're all walking around like it's not happening. Everything's great. It's Israel. Israel's great. I don't understand that, see? I understand it. That's the problem. But I don't understand it. I can't see any kind of indoctrination where I'm going to shoot 13 kids in a day and then brag about it on top of that. I shot 13 kids today. I killed 13 Palestinian children. Look up the word children if you're pro-Israel. Because clearly you don't understand it if you have opposition to what I'm saying here. How's the poll doing? Let's look at the poll because I guess this is as far as I'm going to make it tonight. It was a late show and I apologize. But we did miss it. We didn't miss today. This is day 9, is it? In a row. And let me check the news here. Let me see if Israel is bombing the planet. Hang on here. And 13, I guess, is a lucky number for an Israeli sniper, is it? Did he go and did everybody buy him a drink that night? Did he celebrate? Did he lose his virginity to his mom that night, I wonder? Or his dad? Because that would make sense, wouldn't it? I find it hard to accept that somebody can be that deceivable. Let's see what the crazies are screaming. This is in the last hour. Yeah, the past hour. Proxy forces armed by Iran could take part in retaliation against Israel. Well, proxy forces of Israel are going to take part against Iran, like United Kingdom and America, like aircraft carriers, fighter jets, Black Hawk helicopters, destroyers. That's okay. But Israel, Iran can't defend itself, is what you're saying, right? Should Israel be allowed to go there and destroy everything too? Not that they would, because that's a standing army. Israel's never going near a standing army. They're soldiers, but they're not brave soldiers. All they're doing in Palestine is shooting fish in a barrel, right? It must be boring for them because they purposely are shooting the women and children. That's not up for debate. Times of India, like I would believe them. We're almost through. UN shouldn't exist. Palestinian buries 80 bodies handed over by Israel. Israel was saying, I think there's even got 2,000 bodies there they want to give back. Trying to make themselves feel good, I guess, is it? Is this the strangest thing I ever come across? I killed 13 Palestinian kids today, and I'm proud of it. Israeli sniper. I think that tells us all we need to know about that ideology. These got none of the human attributes that you would hope for. And they're not even childish, they're childlike. Do they brag about this amongst their friends? Hey, how many kids you killed today? I killed 13. Everybody's like, woo! And you know that if he goes to the Senate, United States or Canada, Parliament, he'll get a standing ovation. The brave Israeli soldier who killed 13 Palestinian children in a single day. You're amazing. You're amazing. You can fuck my sheep if you want to. I'm sure he does it in the spare time. Anyway, I'm no different than a lot of people today are sitting on the sidelines saying the exact same thing as I said tonight. These people are batshit crazies. And they're willing to destroy the whole planet so they can pretend that they're special. A complete disregard for every insect, every bird, every animal, and the future of humanity. Complete disrespect for it. Only thing that matters is them and their book. Everybody else can be damned. I think it's just disgusting that a society accepts that killing 13 Palestinian kids in a single day from a very long distance away where the kids can't even see him or throw a rock at him. How brave does it have to be an Israeli sniper and kill 13 children? How brave do you got to be to do that one? Because if that's the qualification to become an Israeli soldier, then that's pretty scary. Where does that mentality come from? It has to come from the other people that were soldiers in Israel too, see? He didn't dream it up himself and come out and brag about it. He bragged about it because he's heard similar stories, right? As he rose up the ranks. He's educated too, he's an engineer. And that's a strange thing we see about a lot of these people. They're very educated. But it's not the education that makes you human, see? Anyway, at least somebody spoke it, I guess. At least somebody spoke out. We'll close the poll down. The poll done pretty good. Is the genocidal Israel stupid enough to use a nuclear weapon against Iran? I hope they're not, but I doubt it. I truly believe the poll hammered it. Got it perfect. Well, yes they are, Dana. Because you got to be stupid to use a nuclear weapon. You got to be stupid to commit genocide right alongside of you for your entire legacy. Steal people's land and steal their houses, move in their house, and then pretend you're a good person. Where I come from, that's a thief, and they usually go to jail. Yeah, a whole lot. What is it? 7 million useful idiots. Well, we'll call it a night. You have a great night, everybody. Hugs for everybody. Hope everybody had a great day. Let's hope the stupid ones don't do anything more stupider in the next 24 hours. I got a feeling that we're in for a bad week coming up and a bad couple of years. And it could be really bad. We could lose a couple of billion people. They didn't have a whole bunch of kids, by the way, singing a song that they're going to exterminate the Palestinians in less than 1 year, because they're close to fruition. We got all kinds of politicians around the world saying they should nuke Gaza. All of these people are just... What the frig is wrong with you people? You're pathetic. They wouldn't wish it on themselves, would they? They wish it on everybody else. And they carry it out on the most vulnerable who can't fight back. And that's the only reason they're doing it. The Israeli soldier doesn't exist. There really isn't anything as an Israeli soldier. There's a coward who hides behind a gun and a hill. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Great day tomorrow. Make it this far in the video. Consider giving us a thumbs up. I can guarantee you if everything goes wrong, I'll be back with another video. I'm back tomorrow night anyway. Take care, folks.